morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm meadsy69 and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be looking at the PZ E100, the jageroo. Now, I'm not going to lie, this is a tank I don't really like. As you can see here, it competes with the grill. I don't quite know how it competes with the grill. Nothing like the grill. We're not going to really look at the armor. The armor's pretty straightforward. The bottom plate's weak and the either side of the gun is pretty weak as well. Other than that, it's a slow tank, but it does have a really nice gun. My equipment layout now, you can either run the rammer, which make the DPM at 2984. The penetration is 299 on your AP, and it is 380 on your heat. Now, if you do run the sorry, it's 2,700 for the no, it's 3,200. Sorry, if you run the rammer. But if you run the calibrated shells, it does drop down to 2,984. But that gives you a penetration on your AP at 314 and 418 on your heat. So pretty good penetration if you are running the rammer. But you do lose 200 or so, 200, nearly 300 DPM. So I personally run the rammer because I think the penetration is enough. I mean, 380 millimeters, I think that's enough to get through most tanks if you have to use heat. Now, everything else, I'll run the camo net, and then the gun laying drive, I'll give it the more hit points, and then everything else is pretty much to the left side. So as I've said, it's a very slow tank. It is a 170 millimeter gun, the second highest gun in the game, other than the Death Star. So it does have a really nice gun. It does really nice alpha. The reload time, 14.9 seconds. That gives you a rate of fire of 4.01. The base aim time 2.02 is not bad, and the dispersion 0.317 is pretty good as well. The gun depression, only 6 degrees of gun depression, and you do go very slow at 30 kilometers an hour. Now, we are using Blitzhanger. What I love about Blitzhanger, which I haven't really told you, if you go down to the bottom on the tank, it shows you the tactics, and it's really good to read. If you're just buying a tank, do go to Blitzhanger and look at this, because it tells you, it gives you hints pretty much. Peekaboo, it's not recommended. Long range sniping is good. Frontline, not recommended. Circle of death, not recommended. Hit and run, not recommended. One versus brawl, average. So it's a pretty good insight, actually. And it's long range sniping, I would probably say yes, I would use this, because you're such a slow tank. I mean, you can go frontline with your heavies, because if you can angle your tank, hide the bottom plate, then yeah, and side scrape, then yeah, you can go frontline. But usually for me, because you're such a slow tank, by the time you get frontline, then you could get wrecked from the side, or your team could be dead. So I do use this tank pretty much as a sniper. So the only thing I really like about this tank, as I've said, is that gun. Now, you can do this quite often. These shots right at the start of the game, 40 seconds in, goodbye IS-7, because it does have that massive alpha. These kind of guns love the IS-7. Fair play to the IS-7 there, GG. Didn't rage, just GG. Now, this game here, I mean, RNG was on my side. We had 2 shots so far, 3.2k damage. But with these big guns, these big reload guns, when RNG is not on your side, they really is not on your side, and things can go horribly wrong. But actually, RNG has been really fair on me this game. A nice 800 roll there into the T30. We have had a few bounces, and you can get bounces, but that's why I like playing this tank from distance. If you play it from at the back, and even if you are spotted, you have to really sort of have a nice, good accuracy to get that bottom plate. So that's when you can kind of get the bounces. Now, these kind of positions here, you can see I've got the rock in front of me, and this is how you need to play the tank. Now, when you've got mediums in front of you, they are going to struggle to pen the cheeks of your tank, unless they do switch to premium ammunition, and then some of them, most mediums can penetrate. But if you can hide the bottom plate and angle your cheeks whilst you're on a reload, you will pick up some bounces. And as you can see, we have bounced 1300 damage, so that would be me dead. That would be me dead. Again, start of the game, look at that nice T54. You can see I'm angling, or I'm aiming right where I want to. Goodbye. Very start of the game, and you will get a lot of ammo racks in this tank, just like you do the Death Star. So how do you play it? I mean, you have to have hard cover. You have to have hard cover, because the tank is just so slow. It is so slow, and I know a lot of people like this tank. Skate Extreme loves this tank, and again, it's the kind of tank, when it goes your way, it's a fantastic tank, but when it doesn't, it can go horribly wrong, and you can get wrecked. Nice shot there into the back chat. So when you can get those shots off, then yeah, it can be a nice tank. But all in all, the jageroo's not a tank it's one of the only tier, apart from the Death Star now, it is only one of the only tier 10 TDs that if I fancy play, I play a lot of tier 10 TDs now. And of course you have the E4, which I think is the worst TD, but the jageroo is a tank that I don't sit there and think, you know what, I'm going to go and play the jageroo. It's not. There's a few other TDs that I definitely prefer in tier 10 now. I do prefer the grill, even though it doesn't have armor. It does have the nice gun, and it does have the speed, and it has the accuracy. You got the E3, which I am making a video of very shortly, maybe even tomorrow. That is much better. The FV4005, again, it's a nice tank when played correctly, but this is, it can get boring, and because it is the kind of tank where you do need to sit at the back of the map, and I don't like them kind of TDs, and that's the same with the Death Star now. But with the Death Star, you just get spotted from the other side of the map. But as I've said, you can still pump out that damage when it goes right for you in this tank. Just make sure, if you're going to play it as a heavy, there's no right or wrong if you play it as a heavy or if you play it as a TD, that you are sat at the back of the map, because the accuracy is alright, the penetration is really good, so you should be able to pen most of your shots even from distance. But if you're not that kind of player, that does just like to sit at the back farming damage, then like we are here, we're not sat at the back, we've got hard cover to our right, we have got our team to our left. And always make sure you have that. Just don't get caught out on your own. Because if you get caught out on your own, especially against the medium tanks, then you are going to be the one that suffers. And just like we are here, we knew that the tanks were flanking from the right. So we're not going to go and push them. We're going to get into a position. We've got hard cover from our left and our right. And we have that wall so we can take the shot, back up, and we can reload. Just like here with the FV4002. Now, he's a good tank, but we got hard cover. We're not going to let him get around us and circle of death us, because you're just going to get absolutely wrecked, and there is no chance. Once a medium tank gets behind you, you might as well just throw your phone or your device out the window, because you're not going to be able to do much. But other than that, when played correctly, it can be a nice tank. It really can be a nice tank. Now, that poor tortoise, we're going to get rid of a tortoise that game, and actually the next game on the same map. Just don't rely on the armor. It is basically a super heavy tank, but just don't rely on the armor, because your bottom plate, just like the E100, is so weak. It is really, really weak, and just don't get caught out. Don't get caught out in the open. Now, if a medium tank was to rush me now, I'm in trouble. But it is a 6, or it's a 5 versus 3. We got no problems, and you can see even with 3 left, like, I'm still sticking to as far as the cover as I possibly can. Unlike this jageroo here, and I'm able to get behind this jageroo and we're going to ram him, and we are going to take him out. So this game, sometimes you will be surprised. I mean, the first game I had what, 5 shots, and I still ended on 5.7k damage. This game, very nice and easy. We got shot once, and we end up on a first class, and we end up on 5.2k damage. So it is a tank where you still can farm damage. You can pump up or rack up a lot of damage in this tank, but only when it goes well. Sometimes that's not going to happen. Sometimes you are going to get caught out in the open, like right now the same map. If a medium tank was to come and track me, then I could do 0 damage. And it does remind me of the Death Star, because if you miss your shot on the Death Star and you get rushed, then that is basically game over for you. Now, this poor tortoise here on the enemy team, he is actually going to not pen me. He's going to struggle. We're going to get the shot on him, and you can see we are backing up. We're going to try and hide our lower plate, and you can see the kind of angles that I'm using whilst I am reloading, and we do get some bounces. But we are also getting penned as well, and that is exactly how I recommend playing this tank. When you're on a reload, just don't show any of your tank. Just hide your tank completely if you can. Don't go in the middle of the open. You're going to get ripped apart, even though you've got 2,000 hit points. I mean, them hit points are not going to last long, especially against mediums that can do 3,500 DPM. You're going to not even last a minute. You're not going to last a minute. As you can see there, it doesn't even matter if you try an angle. We are in the open. If you try an angle, if they shoot your track wheel, they're going to do damage, and you are just going to get ripped apart. Now, I was in the open here. I was stupid. I decided to push, and we do manage to get a lucky bounce there. Fuck you, bastard, or says the tortoise, bless him. And we are now a one-shot, but we do manage to take out the jageroo. But it is now a 3-on-4 this game. We've still racked up 3.7k damage, so we've still done our job, but I'm very low hit points. I am very low hit points. There is an auto loader on the enemy team with the FE4005. It's only going to take him 2 shots to clear me, so I need to be very careful, and I need to make sure that you can see here now that I'm not just going. I believe that the FE was coming around this way, so I'm just going to back up, because if he comes behind me when I'm going this way, then I'm in a lot of trouble. Excuse me. So always try and read the team, because even if heavy tanks come behind you, they can circle of death you no problem whatsoever. But this game, I mean, we're going to commentate on the rest of this game. It is a 3-on-3. I'm very, very low hit points. Now, this T54 E1 is going to get lucky, and I'm going to bounce him. I don't know how, but now I know where the FE4005 is. I can concentrate on him, and I mean, I'm aiming, and I don't even know how that freaking bounced that shot. I hit the back of his turret. No idea how that bounced, but he got away with it. But we do manage to take out one of their team to now bring it down to a 3-on-2. We're still on 3.7k damage, and I really want to get a nice HE shot. If I can get a nice HE shot into this FE4005, then I could bring him down to a 1-shot, but he's not quite showing me enough for me to take the shot, and we are going to shoot, and we are going to do nearly 900 damage. So now that has pushed us up to 4.5k damage. We have bounced 1,000 hit points, so even though I'm saying you can't rely on the armor, you will get bounces in this thing. You will get bounces, especially if you are hold down. Medium tanks or heavy tanks will try and shoot the side of your gun, the cheeks of your gun, and if they don't switch to Pramo, I mean, more medium tanks, if they don't switch to Pramo, then they're still going to be struggle to pen your cheeks on this. So now there's just 2 tanks left. I know that the FE4005 was coming around that way. We still have the T54 E1 who somehow is still alive after getting lucky with the bounce from me. But both of these are auto-loaded tanks, so it's only going to take 2 shells from each of these tanks to clear me. So we do manage to take care of that T54 E1, and it now just leaves the FE4005. I'm on 4.9k damage. We're on 3 kills. And now I can play a little bit aggressive. You can see I've got the HE loaded. He is an auto loader though, so again, it's only going to take him 2 shells. So I really want to make sure I get the first shot in. If I do manage to get the full roll, on the HE, then I don't mind taking that shot, which is why I am being more aggressive. There is only 1 minute left on the clock, and no one was really pushing, so it had to be me that pushes. But I can't quite get that gun down. I don't want it, so I'm coming up the hill with him and he tracks me and I can't get that gun down enough. But that's where I was willing to sort of sacrifice myself with the other teammates still alive, like the E100, because they've got a turret. It's going to be a lot harder for them, for that guy to kill them. So that was a nice ace. That is the jageroo, not the tank for me, but when played correctly, it can be actually a really nice tank, but you have to play it correctly. I hope you enjoyed it, guys. I'm Meadsy, and I'll catch you soon. Bye-bye.